Yo, what's going on, snipers, and welcome back to our New York Islanders franchise mode here in NHL 25. So in last episode, we simulated the rest of the regular season, and we have made the playoffs with a 49-22-11 record, so a pretty solid year for this team. And as you can see on this little matchup portion, we actually finished 12th in offense, so our offense wasn't necessarily the best on paper, but it was still pretty solid. We were the best defensive team in the league, or tied for it with the Toronto Maple Leafs. We are also 17.9% on the power play, which was 12th in the league. So basically, our offense was kind of mid-table for the most part, but we had very good defensive stats as our penalty kill was also top 5 in the league. So a lot of positives to take away from the season. And yeah, very excited to see what this team could do in this postseason. But you can see for the most part, we got some pretty good offense, I'd say, throughout our entire team. Especially, I would say, mostly our top 6, but we did get some scoring from other guys like Duclair, who had 51 points, mainly as a third-line guy with power play time. We also had Holmstrom do 42 points, so at least it seems like our bottom 6 is scoring a lot more than it did in the past. David Gustafsson, who we claimed on waivers last year, 26 points this year, so very impressed, I would say, for the most part, with the offensive side of things. And in our defensemen, everybody was a nice plus-minus. We had Dobson on 58 points, which is pretty good. So I would say I was pretty impressed with how the defense played as well. And in our goaltending, obviously, is pretty damn impressive, with Sorokin rocking a 912 save percentage and Varlamov rocking a 919 as the backup. So we have two good goaltenders that we could go to if we get into trouble. And we have a pretty damn solid lineup as well. So hopefully this is a year where this team could go obviously past the first round. But we are going to be running into a kind of an interesting Detroit team. They did finish 41-31-10, so kind of a 500 record. However, as you can see here on the comparison portion, once again, they are 6th in offense, so they technically were better offensively than us during the regular season, but they were way worse defensively. Their power play was actually way worse than ours too, and their penalty kill was worse than ours. So basically, the main difference is they're really good 5-on-5 in terms of scoring goals. So we got to make sure not to allow them to score any goals on that top line, especially because it's mainly their top line, I would say, that's a huge threat, but they do have some good depth to their lineup as well. Kind of similar to Montreal, who we faced last season. But you can see DeBrincat, Larkin, and Raymond, very good top line. Second line's a pretty good complementary line with Tarasenko, Kasper, and Rasmussen. And then the third line, even, I would say, is pretty solid with Veleno, Kopp, and Bransek Nygaard, I think it's pronounced. I honestly don't even know. And then Patrick Kane's on the fourth line, which is really strange. Hopefully we could exploit him a little bit, because I know he's not that great of a defensive player. They also have Berggren and Danielson. Like, they don't really have, I would say, any super defensively minded players, if I'm not mistaken. Let's just see. There's Kasper, who's a two-way forward. Is there any other two-ways? Veleno's technically a two-way. Kopp's a two-way. Never mind, they actually do have a lot of two-way forwards, but I feel like a lot of these guys aren't the best in defensive awareness. Like, Kane's an 83, Berggren's an 84, Danielson's an 82, Bransek Nygaard's an 85, Kopp's an 87, that's pretty damn good. Veleno's an 86, that's good. And Marco Kasper's an 86 defensively. Yeah, I would say they're an okay defensive team based on their structure. I wasn't expecting to have that much two-way forwards. Like, I thought guys like, who was it? Danielson wasn't going to be a two-way forward. I thought he was going to be like something else instead, but yeah, that's not too bad. And then the defensive side of things, you can see they have a pretty solid defensive core with Edvinsson, Sider, Larson, Wallinder, Gustafsson, and Hull. So they definitely have good depth. They also have a solid goaltending tandem of Gustafsson and Lindgren too. So it's definitely going to be a tough first-round matchup, I think. Even though they technically had a 500 record, they definitely could be a cheese team technically, or not necessarily a cheese team. They're a good team that looks like a cheese team, but they're actually way better than they look. So hopefully we're able to beat them and get ourselves to that second round. But anyways, before we get into this first round matchup with the Detroit Red Wings, let's get into your guys' comments and see what you guys have to say about last episode, and then we'll get into this first round matchup. So the first two comments are from Big T. The first one says you should get better chemistry for your power play. And I don't really know if I should get better chemistry for the power play. Like, if we look at our power play right now, it was a top 12 one in the league, which is not too bad. I don't really remember what the chemistry was looking like on the power play, if I'm not mistaken. So let's just go over to that for a second here. We have +5 on the first one, so that should be fine. Actually, should probably have Horvat down the middle. I don't know why Barzal was down the middle, so we're just going to do that just to change things up a little bit. But if we go to power play number 2, it's an even 0, which isn't too bad, and it's probably the guys I would keep on the power play. like David Gustafsson, Frundell, Veterano, Pollock, and Duclair. Like, I don't think there's anybody else that I would rather put on this power play. So, to be honest, the chemistry isn't really that needed to change, I don't think. The only thing I'm going to just keep changing is Horvat down to the middle, because I'd say Horvat's obviously a way better centerman than Barzal is. So, that's the only change that's going to be made on those power play units. He also says Duclair's out. I think you should get a 4th-round pick for him or 2nd-rounder. And so he's saying in the offseason to basically get rid of Duclair, which I'm not too sure still exactly what we want to do, if we want to offload Duclair, if we want to offload Veterano, because Veterano had a really good later half of the season. Anthony Duclair was not too bad, I would say. Obviously, his goal scoring kind of dropped off a little bit, but 51 points for a guy that's playing basically third-line minutes with some power play time, it's not really that bad. Like, technically, if you get rid of his power play points, he still had 40 points, which is pretty damn impressive for a third liner. So I think Duclair was fine, but obviously, since he is getting closer and closer to being a pending free agent, we could always change him into somebody else if we really want to in the offseason, depending, I guess, what this team does in the playoffs. The next 2 comments are from a bottle of beer. The first one says, "Happy Halloween. You should trade the whole team as a Halloween prank to the Islanders fans." And so he's basically saying to trade everybody on the team just as a Halloween joke. And I wouldn't obviously do that, but yeah, that's kind of funny. Just because, like, I don't know if anybody would get mad if I trade away everybody on this team, but obviously at some point this roster is going to look completely different than it does now. So just a little heads up there, Islanders fans. Like, maybe in 5 seasons, if we're in rebuild state, this team's going to look a lot worse than it does at the moment. And he also says, "Oh, what I meant by you have the star players was I meant Ryan Hartman was a star forward, not like a franchise carrying forward, but a guy that could put up 25 goals, because he was trying to get me to basically bring in Ryan Hartman, which I mean, Ryan Hartman would be a good addition for the top 6, but the thing is right now, Frankie V's actually been not too bad. We also do have a lot of like kind of wingers already, so it's not a huge upgrade if we were to do that. But maybe that's something we'd look into in the offseason if Ryan Hartman becomes a free agent and we end up getting rid of somebody like Duclair or Veterano. The next comment is from Michael Dose, who says, "Got Islanders over Red Wings in 6 games, so he thinks we're going to win in 6 games. Hopefully that's the case." Really depends on, I guess, if our offense continues to do what it does, like our top 6 could do what it did last year and this season. And then hopefully also our defensive play still structures good. Like, hopefully the goaltending is just as good as it was during the regular season, because so far Sorokin's been really good in the series for us, but he hasn't been that guy yet in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Like, if we go to last year's stats, actually last year he was okay. He had a .910 save percentage. We did actually score, I think, more goals than Montreal did in that series. So technically our goaltending has been good. We just need the goal scoring support alongside it and being a little bit more consistent on that offensive side of things if we want to get to the next round. In the last and final comment is from Sound Otaku, who says, "As a Pens hater, the UPL trade angers me given how good he simulates in franchise mode. Frankie V must have known that we were talking about him since he did well after the deadline. Now I'm not sure who, if anyone, should be moved in the offseason. Detroit is definitely a better team on paper than their record would indicate. This will not be an easy out for sure." And yeah, this is going to be a tougher matchup than it looks. Obviously, they got a better forward group and a better team than their record actually is indicating. So I think it's definitely going to be tough. They are 7-1-2 in their last 10 games going into the playoffs as well. So they have been on a little bit of a heater as of late. So that's also going to make it a little bit tough for our team for sure. But anyways, let's get into this first round matchup and see what this team is capable of in the postseason this year. Obviously, last year, like I said, was an interesting first round with Montreal. We outscored them, but we lost in 7 games because we fell down 3-1, got it back to a game 7, and unfortunately lost in overtime. Sorry, I keep on almost losing my voice here for some reason. Anyways, let's get to game number 1 on home ice. We got home ice advantage for probably a good chunk of the playoffs, unless we go up against a tough team like Toronto or Florida at some stage. But let's get into game 1 and see what we could do against this tough Detroit team. Hopefully we can maintain our good stats from the regular season, and hopefully we can contain their top line, because obviously that top line is pretty good. First period, game number 1. Wow, okay, that's a really good start. I mean, I am a little bit scared that we scored that much goals early on, but that's a fantastic way to start off the playoffs. Romanov, Parsonen, and Duclair. So goals from unlikely players, technically, almost, other than Duclair, I would say. Romanov opening the scoring is great. Parsonen getting a goal is really good to see the fourth line getting going early because obviously that depth scoring is important. And then that Duclair goal late was a huge one as well. So we scored 2 goals in the first 2 minutes. Took a little bit of time off, but then scored late again. Shots are 15-9 in favor of us after the first period. We're up by 3 goals. Is it one of those games where you score a lot early and then you just blow the lead? Or is it one where we could actually just hold on to this lead the rest of the game? Second period. 3-1. Okay, they did get on the board. Rasmussen beats Sorokin. Shots are 26-18 in favor of us. We're still up by a pair of goals. Let's find a way to get some insurance, lock this one down, and take an easy game 1 here if we can. We had a great first period. Hopefully we could have a good third period as well. Second period was okay because we didn't give up too much goals, I would say. Let's just lock her down, boys. Play that good defensive hockey that we did during the regular season. I know we could do it. Penalty kill. Nicely done. We need our penalty kill to be better than last year in the playoffs. And Frank Vetrano, the empty netter, we're going to win game 1, 4-1. That's a very dominant start to the playoffs. But what I was saying is our penalty kill last year in the playoffs wasn't good. It wasn't great during the regular season either. But now that it's much better, maybe that's where it's going to help us a lot in terms of our playoff simulations. So we outshot them 41-29. We end up winning 4-1 in this first game. That's pretty damn solid. Romanov from Horvat and Bjorkstrand, so a top line goal. Then Parsonen from Barzal, that's an interesting one. That's like a fourth liner and a first liner. Duclair from Holmstrom and Dobson, and then Vetrano from Ferndale and Nelson. Nicely done, guys. Any minus people in that first game? Probably not. Romanov and Dobson were +3 each in that first game, so shout out to them. Dufour and Gustafsson were -1 each, so the fourth line was out there, I guess, for a goal. But Sorokin, really good numbers. It said that he only played 40 minutes. What the heck was that? So we literally didn't play a goalie for at the third period, or what? That's funny. I don't know why it was glitched out like that, but definitely that's a glitch. Sorokin first star of the game, Romanov the second star, and Parsonen the third star. So that a free agent acquisition of Juuso Parsonen and holding on to him throughout the trade deadline might help us out a little bit if he continues like that. As Barlow in the AHL has been injured with a strained hamstring, let's just go replace player. I don't think he's the most important player, but I think it is one of those prospects that's like medium 7th potential, if I remember right. He might be the enforcer. I honestly don't remember. But we have a 1-0 series lead. That's a good way to start it off, considering last year, obviously, like I said, we were down 3-1 to the Montreal Canadiens, who didn't even make the playoffs this year. So maybe we are going to be a good team this year, unless we run into like a hot team like the Toronto Maple Leafs or Florida, because those two teams are going to be definitely really tough to beat if we end up facing them at some point. But anyways, let's get to game number 2. Very textbook first game. Good defense, good offense. Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling. So here we go. Game number 2, still on home ice. First period. 1-0 Detroit. Alex DeBrincat opens the scoring. We are being outshot as well, 14-10. So not a terrible first period because we're only down by a goal. Sorokin's kind of holding us in it. But we definitely don't want our offense to all of a sudden dry up. Like, obviously last game was good. But then most of those goals were in the first period of last game technically too, and the other goal that we scored was an empty net goal, so we don't want them to get their defensive game going, or else that's going to be a bit of a problem for us. Can we find a way to tie this game up in the second period or grab the lead? Second period. 2-1. Okay, we are back in the game again. Horvat made it a tie game early on, but they answered literally less than 50 seconds later from Alex DeBrincat again. The shots are 24-17. Okay, well, we're still in this game. We're only down by a goal. We just got to find ways to score more consistently because, like I said, we've literally only had one goal, technically, that wasn't an empty net goal since the first period of the last game. So I feel like our offense is kind of being a little bit more quiet than I'd like, but hopefully it comes alive here in a period because obviously it was really good in the first period last game, so it could probably strike out of nowhere. Let's see what happens in this third period, see if we could tie this game up. Or else are we going to have a tie series headed to Detroit, which would not be good. Power play for us. We get not a power play goal, a goal after the power play expired. Romanov with his second goal of the series already. So I don't know what's with Alex Romanov right now, but he's been really good. D-Boss makes it 3-2. God damn it. That's not good. Final few minutes. Come on, guys. Let's tie this one up. Can we tie it up? No, we cannot. We lose a close one, 3-2, as their top line pretty much took over in that game. Final shots 35-32. We lose 3-2. So, like I said, we need to contain their top line, and they managed to score all 3 of their goals. DeBrincat had 2, and Larkin wins the game for them. Not great. Not great at all. So Horvat from Bjorkstrand and Barzal, and then we had Romanov from Frundell and Dobson. But yeah, that top line of the Red Wings was the main thing in that game. Larkin had 3 points. Raymond had 2 points. DeBrincat had 2 goals. We definitely got to make sure they stay off the score sheet when we get into Detroit. But that's definitely a tough game for the team. And then there's the goaltending stats. Sorokin was good again. But unfortunately, our offense just wasn't able to keep up with Detroit's a little bit. And yeah, all their stars are pretty much their top line, except for Gustafsson, who gets third star of the game. But yeah, I'm not liking our offense right now. It has been a little bit quieter than I like, so I don't know if I would make any adjustments yet. Like, technically, we do have 6 goals in 2 games, which is not bad, but we had 3 of those goals in the first period of Game 1, and we only scored, technically, an empty net goal and 2 more goals after that. I might keep it the same, I think, for Game 3, but if we lose this game, I think we need to make some adjustments after that. So, let's keep the team the same, and let's see if we can get a good response. We are now on the road in Detroit. During the regular season, it was a pretty close series. It was a 2-1 win for us over them in 3 games. And both goalies were really good during the regular season too. So it so far it looks like it could be a series that goes 7 games in the playoffs as well based on that. Trying to think if there's anything we need to do in terms of adjustments. I don't think I need to make any adjustments yet. Don't want to complicate things too early. So let's get to game number 3 and see if we could take our series lead back. If we lose this game, like I said, I might have to make some adjustments though. First period of game 3 in Detroit. They already scored. God damn it, that's not good. And it's 1-1 though. Okay, good. They scored literally 16 seconds in, but Sorokin afterwards is like, boys, I need to be a lot better. And he also says we need to play better in front of me too. We don't give up anything else. Frundell scores a couple minutes later. And it's tied in shots, tied in goals. So that's a pretty even first period. Like I said, I feel like this is a series that could definitely go to 7 games. It's definitely going to be a closer one than it should look like. But that's a solid first period. Don't like the early goal given up, but at least we had a response to it. Let's see if we could get that lead in the second period, because we have not had the lead really since, I guess, technically game 1. So let's see if we could get that lead back. Second period. 2-1 us. Good stuff. Adam Pelech. Okay. We're getting some goals from some unlikely candidates in this series so far, because Romanov's got multiple goals. Pelech's got a goal now. And it's kind of interesting that guys like Barzal hasn't scored yet, I don't think. So I'm liking the way that we're getting goals from other players, but obviously we got to score a lot more than just like 2-3 goals a game, I feel like. Especially against a team like Detroit that's pretty good offensively. Shots are 21-18 in favor of us. We're up by a goal. Let's get some insurance here in this third period and take a game in Detroit to get back at them for taking one of our games. Veleno ties it up on the power play for Detroit. That's not great. I thought we were on the power play, but I guess they must have scored like shortly afterwards on their power play. I don't even know. Final few minutes of this third period, still tied at 2. This has been a pretty close series and a pretty close last 2 games. We are going to be going to overtime in a pretty crucial game 3. Whoever wins this game will take a 2-1 series lead. Shots are 33-26 in favor of us, so definitely both goaltenders have played good so far up to this point. Who wants to be the hero for us in overtime? I'm going to call on the waiver claim David Gustafsson. I don't know why, but that's my guess right now. So let's see what happens in overtime, see if we can get that winner. Who wants to be the hero for us? Power play for us. Can we score on it? Yes, we can. And it's a goal right afterwards. It's Matt Barzal. Let's go. We called him out too, kind of, because we did say he hadn't scored really in the series. And we win in overtime in Detroit. And we have taken a 2-1 series lead, winning 3-2. Final shots 40-30. But we managed to get the best of Gustafsson. Let's go. Huge win on the road. Huge win. Frundell from Nelson and Vetrano, Pelech from Holmstrom, and Barzal from Cizikas. That's another interesting goal because Cizikas is a bottom 6 guy and then Barzal's a top line guy. So, yes, Barzal's just getting out there and playing with some of those guys that are on the 4th line and all that. But another great game from Sorokin. He's been a beast so far in these first few games. Pelech, the 2nd star, and Matt Barzal, the 3rd star of the game. All right. Was there any minus people in this game? Probably not too much, right? Let's see. Gustafson, Romanov, Parson. So the fourth line again in Alex Romanov. Romanov's getting like 25 minutes a game. Damn, he's getting a lot of ice time. But Dobson's playing almost half the game. I didn't realize they gave him that much ice time. But shout out to Noah Dobson, who almost logged 29 minutes in an overtime game. That's actually pretty insane. Pretty insane. Hopefully the tires don't fall off on him because he's been good. All right, so we have a 2-1 series lead headed into Game 4. Barlow's back for Bridgeport, so we'll throw him back in just because Bridgeport might... Actually, they probably aren't in the playoffs, but we should just throw him in anyways. It's not instead of Fulp, it was instead of Wolski, I think? No, it was instead of Mitchell. That's who it was. So we'll get Barlow in. Yeah, he is the enforcer. But yeah, I don't think they made the playoffs. So Pratt in the AHL, just if you guys wanted to know, finished off with 49 points in 72 games, minus 17. So very bad plus minus. But yeah, this guy's a very good offensive defenseman at the AHL level right now. Hopefully he could do that when he gets to our NHL team within a few seasons, because he's probably still a few years out, I would guess. All right, so we have a 2-1 series lead headed into Game 4. If we win this game, we're 1 win away from the second round, which is great. Obviously, we have high hopes to get to at least like the conference finals or Stanley Cup finals this year. So this first round, if we win in this first round, it will not be suffice yet. But we obviously got to keep on pushing. So let's get to game number 4. See if we could take this 3-1 stranglehold potentially on them. Come on, boys. I believe in yous. We had a pretty good defensive effort in these last few games as well. So first period of Game 4, as I see we scored early, but they answered back. So pretty similar to what they did to us last game, or yeah, it happened to us last game. They scored early last game, and then we answered back. Well, this time around, we score first, and they answer back. Barzal scores for us, so right after he scored the overtime winner, he scores another goal 11 seconds into the game. It's pretty insane. And then Vlad Tarasenko scores a power play goal. I feel like our penalty kill has kind of struggled a little bit against Detroit right now, but it's not been too bad. Shots are 14-9 in favor of the Red Wings, so we are getting outplayed, but likely Sorokin has kept us in it for the most part. We just need to find ways to get goal support for him, and we could take this lead. So let's see what happens in second period. What the hell is that? Okay, well, I said goal scoring support for Sorokin. And, yeah, we just got nothing short of that. Oh, man, I almost went finish game. Jesus. I'm a little bit sporadic now, apparently. But we scored a short-handed goal early into the period. Then Berggren tied the game up at 2. We score a minute later, pretty much, from Bjorkstrand. We didn't score a power play goal from Dobson. Gustafson then scores, and Horvat scores a power play goal. So our power play has had multiple goals in this game now. But that's definitely the offensive support and the offense I was looking for this team. I know that we aren't a super crazy offensive team, but that's exactly what we need for Sorokin. Like, Sorokin can keep us in these games, and then we just need to find ways to get a lot of goals all of a sudden. But the shots are 26-22, yet we're up by 4 goals going into the third period. Let's see if we could lock this one down in the final 20 minutes. But, wow, that was quite the period. Was not expecting that much goals from us, but here we are. And we're doing a good job locking it down defensively in the first half of this third period, which is great. That's the identity I want from this team. Good defense and solid offense. Frundell makes it 7-2. And your New York Islanders are going to be 1 win away from the second round. Let's friggin' go. That's a really good statement game. Hopefully that transpires into the next game. Hopefully not all our goals were in this game. Foul shots 40-31, and we win by 5 goals. So Philip Gustafson got lit up for the first time in the series. So Barzal from Horvat and Sorokin. How did Sorokin get an assist 11 seconds in? That's even crazier. Okay. So technically, I guess Barzal must have, or Horvat won the faceoff. It must have went all the way back to Sorokin, who fired a pass all the way up to Barzal, and then he scored. I honestly don't even know, but that's quite the assist for Ilya Sorokin. Parsonen from Bolduc, Bjorkstrand from Barzal and Pelech, Dobson from Nelson and Horvat, Gustafson from Pollock, Horvat from Nelson and Barzal, and Frundell from Vetrano and Dobson. Nice. It seems like for some reason Sorokin picks up a lot of assists in the playoffs, because last year he had like 2 assists, I think. But you can see the points. Barzal and Horvat with 3 points each, Nelson and Dobson with 2 points each. So we're getting offense from just a ton of different players on this roster, which is great. And then the goaltending has been phenomenal so far from Ilya Sorokin. 3 stars of the game. Bo Horvat, the first star. Barzal, the second star. And Dobson, the third star. Kind of surprised that Sorokin didn't get a star in that one, but he has definitely been, I'd say, one of the best players in the series for us at this point in time, because we only been giving up like less than 2 goals a game, basically, I think, because we gave up 3 one time. So technically that's 4 goals in 2 games, and then we gave up 6, 8. We've literally given up 2 goals against per game in the series so far. So it's been great defensive play, been good goaltending, and we finally found our offensive touch. Hopefully we continue that into Game 5, because now we're on home ice looking to close out Detroit. So can we do it? Can we find ourselves in that second round? Toronto's already on to the next round apparently, which is not a great sign. Florida's very close to eliminating Boston, and Washington has the Rangers also on the brink of elimination. Western Conference, Dallas has already eliminated Edmonton, and 2 series are tied. Winnipeg is very close to knocking out Colorado. All right. But here we go. Game 5. Can we close out the Detroit Red Wings, or are we going back to a Game 6 in Detroit? Come on, guys. Let's just keep on building off last game. First period, Game 5. 2-1 us. Good start offensively. Barzal scores another early goal, so Matt Barzal has come completely alive. Like I said a couple games ago, he was kind of quiet. Scores the overtime winner, and all of a sudden he's now been shot out of a cannon, so to speak. Ferndale made it 2-0, and Marco Kasper gets Detroit on the board. Shots are 18-8 in favor of us, so we're definitely outplaying them. Sorokin not off to the best of starts, but he could probably play good in the second period and hold our lead if he wants to. Second period. 3-1, good insurance marker from Simon Holmstrom. Good defensive period. Shots are 28-16. We're up by a pair of goals going into the third period. Can we lock this one down and close out the series and get ourselves to that second round, which is going to be probably a tough matchup regardless of who we face, but can we lock this one down and get ourselves to round 2? Come on, boys. Just lock it down. Get some insurance, or Sorokin just play good net, basically. Because Sorokin has definitely been really good so far in this first round. Penalty kill. Nicely done, penalty killers. Final few minutes. We're still up by a pair of goals, which is good. Can we lock it down? Yes, we can. We are going to the second round of the playoffs for the first time in the series. Outshooting him 38-23, so Gustafsson gave his team a chance. But Sorokin with another good game. Our defense with another solid game too. This is looking like a pretty good team going into the playoffs, at least right now. But we are going to be running into some tougher teams than Detroit, so that's going to be an interesting matchup for us for sure. But Barzal's third from Nelson and Bjorkstrand. Frondell's third from Vetrano and Nelson. And Holmstrom's first to the playoffs from Bjorkstrand and Horvat. Nice. 3 stars of the game. Ilya Sorokin again with a 9.56. Nelson the second star, and Bjorkstrand the third star. Pretty damn good first round. I feel like almost everybody on the team picked up a point in that one, but then again, I don't even know if everybody did or not. But we outscored them definitely quite well in that first round, considering that we had that 7-goal game. Like, if we go to team stats here for the first round here, and we go Eastern Conference, let's just sort this by wins here. Actually, not by wins. What do I want to do? Just go games played. There we go. So you can see we outscored them 3.8 goals for per game to 1.8. So that is great. Good offense, good defense, or really good defense and goaltending, I should say. Power play was 21.4%, so our power play did great. And penalty kill wise, our penalty kill was also really good at 86.7%. We also scored a shorthanded goal, 2-1 on home ice, 2-0 on the road. So very good start for our team. But like I said, now we're going to run into probably a pretty tough team. But let's take a look at these stats here. Did everybody on our team pick up a point? Because I feel like they did. But Barzal was over point per game, 7 points in 5 games. Horvat was also over point per game, 6 points in 5 games. Nelson was over point per game. No goals, but 6 assists. Ferndale was point per game. Bjorkstrand point per game. Vetrano just under point per game. Holmstrom on 3 points. Parson on 2 goals. Anthony Duclair was kind of quiet. Not going to lie. After a good regular season, only 1 goal in 5 games, but I'm not expecting every single player to light it up in the first round. So Gustafsson 1 goal as well. Cizikas had an assist. Dufour had no points, so he's our only forward without a point at this point in time. But I definitely expect some other guys to chip in next round if possible. From a defensive standpoint, Dobson had 4 points in 5 games. Romanov had the 2 goals. Pelech had 2 points. Pollock had a point. Bolduc had a point. Mayfield had no points. So only 2 guys on our entire roster had no points. Because even goaltender Ilya Sorokin had a point. And he also rocked a .939 save percentage and a 1.9 goals against. Wow. So shout out to our team. Very good numbers. Very, very good numbers. So there is that. I actually do want to go to Detroit stats from that first round out of curiosity. Yeah, they still got offense from their top line, but they just didn't have the depth scoring against us. Michael Rasmussen was the only plus player, and Seider was a -7. Edvinsson was a -6. So we completely dominated their top defensive pairing. That's awesome. All right. So there is that. The question now is, who are we playing in round numero dos? Who is it going to be? Who is it going to be? Is it going to be a team that we could beat? Or is it a team that's going to be a tough challenge? Probably a tough challenge regardless, my guess. It's going to be the Washington Capitals. Interesting, okay. Washington is technically worse than us as well, so this could be an easier matchup for sure to get us to the conference finals matchup, because that other matchup that's in the Eastern Conference, Florida and Toronto, that's going to be a very, very big matchup. Those two teams are probably going to go to 7 games, and who knows, if we get to the conference finals, maybe one of them could be tired, and then we have a chance to easily beat them. But Florida and Toronto is definitely a very heavyweight matchup. Also have San Jose, Dallas, Utah, and Winnipeg. Interesting. All right, let's take a look at how the Caps did during the regular season compared to us. Actually, there's the comparison thing on here, right? Yeah, there we go. I don't know why I just decided to go to the other part. But anyways, they were a really good offensive team as well. So we are both top 5 offensive teams. We are both top 6 goals against teams. We are both top 5 power play teams. And we are both top 10 penalty kill teams. So the Washington Capitals actually might be a tough matchup based on those stats. That's actually kind of insane. I didn't realize they were that good. But what's kind of interesting is their penalty kill was 81.8%, yet it was 9th. Ours was 86.7%, yet it was 6th. So we were 3 spots up on them, but we had like 5% better on the power play. I don't know if that's bugged, if that's including the playoffs or something. Let me take a look at that just to make sure, because that seems kind of weird. Let's see. What is their pile? Does it actually make sense? Oh, no, it doesn't. Oh, no, it does make sense. 4% better in the regular season. So I guess those numbers that are showing on the side include playoffs? Or maybe those are playoff-based numbers. Yeah, that could be just playoff-based numbers, not regular season. Let's take a look at that. Yeah, I feel like that's likely the case. Let's see. 26.9, 81.8. Was it saying 81.8 on this part? Yeah, it is. Okay, so it's playoff-based numbers. All right. So we're that good in everything during the playoffs so far compared to them. I'm not sure about regular season, though, so I got to take a look at regular season numbers. I wish I would just show the regular season stuff there, but whatever. So in comparison to the regular season, we were much better offensively. We were much better defensively. They were a little tiny bit worse than us on the power play by 0.1%. And penalty kill wise, we were much better at. So they did score 10 shorthanded goals though this season. All right. And going into the playoffs, they had a 3-6-1 record. So let's take a look at what the Capitals look like in terms of their lineup. Looks like Ovechkin's leading them in points, which means he has not retired yet. He probably is in his last chance to win another Stanley Cup based on that. But let's see what we got. First line, Andrew Mangiapane, Dylan Strome, and DeAndre Harris has taken the top line spot from Alex Ovechkin. That's actually kind of insane. Wow. I forgot about this guy, the franchise guy that went first overall last year. Wow. And he had 54 points in his first season in the NHL. No goals so far in the playoffs for him, but yeah, that's definitely a really good top line. Second line, Alex Ovechkin at 41 years old, still killing it with Pierre-Luc Dubois, Tom Wilson still there. Third line, Sammy Blais, Alexis Protas, Jacob Peltier is as well there, Connor McMichael, Alex Wenberg, Mats Zuccarello. That's a pretty good team. Pretty good team. Good offensive depth scoring for sure. Like, when you have Harris and Ovechkin, are they on the same power play unit? They are. They're both on the point. Oh my goodness. That's even more crazy because they're both obviously snipers. They literally have 5 forwards on a power play unit. That seems a little bit risky, but their second unit has Carlson and Chikrin on it. So, wow. That's kind of insane. So defensively, Chikrin and Carlson's the top pairing. That's a really good top pairing. Sandin and Perbix. Forgot that Perbix sign there. Gale Fleury and Ryan McDonough. Damn, man. This is a really good defensive core, too. And in goaltending, Logan Thompson and Kevin Lankinen. Depth, they have Liam O'Brien and Ivan Morosnichenko. God damn, I can barely talk. But, yeah, this is a good team. Ovechkin's lost a lot of his abilities, which is interesting, but they definitely have a huge threat in Harris that is still looking for his first playoff goal. Like, if they get Harris and Ovechkin scoring, this is going to be a very tough matchup, even though technically they were worse than us in the regular season. And in the winner, we'll have to face either Florida or Toronto, which is going to be a crazy, crazy tough matchup, because both those teams, if I'm not mistaken, were two of the top 3 teams in the league, right? I had to take a look at that just because, let's see. Yeah, they were literally 2 of the top 3 teams in the league. Colorado and Edmonton were the other ones, and they were both eliminated in the first round, I think. Yep. So the Western Conference is pretty easy based on that. But the Eastern Conference, Toronto or Florida is definitely a cup favorite right now going forward, which is interesting. So anyways, guys, that's going to do it for this episode of our New York Islanders franchise mode. So in next episode, we'll take it to round number 2 as we look to get ourselves to the conference finals. But we have to run through Alex Ovechkin first and the Washington Capitals. So I think down below, and I'll see you guys next time.